David next in Washington. So go ahead, David.
Oh, hello, and thank you so much for taking my call, Jim and Armin. It is so good to have the opportunity to speak to you today. A couple of weeks ago, while Jim was co-hosting with Secular Rarity, a fleeting comment had been made, and I just wanted to speak to that if I could for a moment. Jim had said that, and when you use the past tense, so I don't know if this was a reference to prior to deconversion or if this was a more current state of affairs.
Yeah, it was prior to.
You had stated, okay, I understand that. But you had said that at the time that you did not feel that being gay, homosexuality, was natural, although you didn't have a problem with it. I just wanted to point out to you that every animal species on Earth, whether we're talking about penguins or cats or fish, all have species members of the same sex that enter into partnerships with one another, and sometimes especially in the case of that.
I hesitate to say the word every because all it takes is one to prove us wrong. I would say most of the ones I'm aware of do, and whatever you do, do not Google dolphin sex. Just don't do it.
I'm doing that right now.
I'll make it a point not to. Thank you. I appreciate
that. And they also, and by our standards, they also have perverted sex quite a bit. And some monkeys don't really care which way. If two monkeys want to go have sex, they go do it. We just don't. We see it all over the place. It's not a. It's much more natural than people think it is, and more so than I thought so 30, 40 years ago. Good.
But what if, I have a question though, but what if it wasn't natural? Who cares? Like if it's not, let's say it's not natural. Let's say humans were the only animals who are having gay sex, and it's fun for people who enjoy it, and it's not harming anybody, and it's not natural. Does it matter if it's not natural? If it wasn't natural,
it matters. Well, if I may, I hate to interrupt you in mid-sentence, Armin. Please forgive me. I don't want to be rude to you.
I finished my sentence.
Yes, please. Sorry.
Go ahead.
My
sentence was finished. Go on. You didn't interrupt me.
Okay, gotcha.
We're running into a little bit of delay issue.
Gotcha. Right now, our rights are under a lot of attack in the United States. There's an entire political party that pretty much wants to make life as difficult as possible for us, and another party that has given something of a tepid response to defending us. And it's frightening to be a gay man in America right now. I'm 51 years old, and I've seen things go from a period of time where I had zero civil rights up to a point where it seemed like very quickly I was gaining a lot of civil rights. And now it looks like a lot of those rights might be taken away again. And the argument over whether it's natural or not oftentimes is part of that discussion, because the people that want to take those civil rights away, and some of whom would be very happy to kill me because of my sexual orientation, do so on the basis of the argument of it not being natural. And that's the reason why that word is something that is... something that causes my ears to perk up, is because I'm so used to hearing the folks suggest that it's not, be the folks that are carrying the torches and, or say I live in the greater Seattle area, and very recently there's a bar that had a drag night, not even a regular drag event, just one night. And somebody shot up the window of the Renton Tap House, and there's a drag bar up on Capitol Hill, which is our neighborhood in Seattle, where somebody pulled a gun and was waving it at the patrons. Thankfully, they managed to get out of his hands before anybody was hurt. But the fact that the gun was pulled is pretty terrifying. And, it's such a frightening time that, when I hear that phrase, it's not natural, it's a little scary.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean
I think we get that. And it is, It's an absolutely terrifying time right now for David, for the LGBTQIA community. And I'm sorry if I made it sound like that I was not an ally, and I definitely am, and that my views have definitely changed. I do recognize now that it is completely natural, and that people need to understand that. They need to get away from these very, very old Bronze Age beliefs and realize that even in the Bronze Age, there were societies who were absolutely okay with people being gay. They just weren't in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So,
You go back to
David,
ancient Egypt, there. Oh, yes. Sorry, Armin. Yes.
no, it's okay. I think we're just dealing with a little bit of a delay. I just wanted to also mention that I didn't mean to say that we shouldn't point that it's natural. Obviously, it is natural, and we should point that out. But at the same time, can we also let's use that argument. Let's keep telling that to people. But I also want to. Do you acknowledge that there are many things that we have that is amazing? Many of the best things that we have are not natural. So not being natural, even if it wasn't natural, like at least here among us, I'm not saying don't go around and exercise the idea that it's not natural, but can we acknowledge among us at least that even if it was natural, if it wasn't natural, it would be completely fine?
Absolutely correct. 1000%. I mean, let's face it, there are some things that are very natural that aren't good for you, like deadly nightshade, very natural, grows in the forest, wouldn't recommend eating it. But natural these days, because it is used for political purposes, and it is really the politics of the situation that's terrifying me. I'm a nurse by profession. I wish I could only focus on nursing and learn how to be the best nurse on earth and let that be the only thing that I worry about. But now I have to learn all about law and all about politics and about the political process, because all of my rights are in danger of disappearing in a flash, depending on who wins a given election. And I never wanted to know this much about the political system. I really wanted to be able to just say, who cares about any of it, and just move on and focus on other things. But I don't have that choice, because there are people who legitimately want to kill me, and want to use the power of the state to do it,
Right.
So,
yeah.
And
while the LGBTQIA community is target number one, if the current political parties that are backing this, when they get done with you guys, are coming for atheists next. So we can't sit back on our laurels by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, it's very scary at how fast these things are going backwards, and how quickly a lot of us are going to be on the wrong end of a gun here soon if we're not careful.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your support, guys. And I'm so sorry to have taken up so much time here on the program.
Oh, no worries.
Just wanted to call this one issue. And thanks so much. I greatly appreciate your support. And, I love the show. So thanks again.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for calling in.